Good evening, Chris Jenkins, credential member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People, here with an unfortunate report. Final score in today's matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, I'm going to look up at the scoreboard to make sure, 27. Look up again, Carolina Panthers 10. Again, final score of today's game, Carolina Panthers 10, Seattle Seahawks 27. Missed opportunities, I think a word that we all remember from Ron Rivera was certainly the name of the game and what happened here today here in Charlotte, as we had an opportunity to get a playoff victory today. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers took on the Miami Dolphins. I don't know the exact score in that game, but I think it was like 20-17. Let me just bring it up real quick so I can speak accurately for you guys. Final score in that game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Miami Dolphins was 20-17. Tampa 17, Miami 20. We missed it. We had it. We had it right there for the taking. And interestingly enough, was reported by another member of the media here in Charlotte. Talk most of the week was, hey Dave, will you be watching the scoreboard? Hey, how will you help your teammates your team not watch the scoreboard? And they allegedly did not have the scores on the ribbons here in Charlotte to see that, and so now the Carolina Panthers have indeed lost and now indeed still have an opportunity to make the playoffs. So let's go ahead and go over that playoff scenario for everybody that's tuning in. And by the way, as always, hopefully the goal each week is Super Chat before and after game. I know it's going to be tough today. Christmas just took place. The Carolina Panthers just did not give you a Christmas present by winning today. But I'm going to ask for it if you are able to help us reach our goal with Super Chats, independent media, 100% supported by you guys. So anytime you're able to do so, please do so. And then let me give a quick shout out, because I was able to meet some of you guys today. And anytime I'm able to meet you guys, it is a great experience for myself. Hold on one second, guys. So yeah, whenever there's an opportunity to meet you guys, it's a welcome opportunity for me. And Tyree Ross was someone that I was, in fact, able to meet today. So that was awesome. Thank you for taking the time to stop by and chat with me today. I think that was after, I think you hung around until my show was done to say hello, so I appreciate it very much. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this playoff scenario. Again, Carolina Panthers lose today. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lose today. So we're still where we were before today. You know, Carolina Panthers are now 8-8. What is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' exact record here? Let me make sure I get it exactly correct. Tampa Bay Buccaneers record is 7-9. Carolina Panthers 8-8. Tampa Bay 7-9. So what are your playoff scenarios? Here it is, the simplest one. And I like to start with this because it's always easiest to keep it simple. The Carolina Panthers win next week in Tampa Bay, which Charlotte Vibe will be there to cover that game and bring it to you firsthand. So please continue to subscribe, set your reminder so that you can join us. But we will be there next week in Tampa. But so the simplest way for the Carolina Panthers to win the NFC South, be back here in Charlotte with another playoff game, is just simply to win next week versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. Now, what is the worst case scenario, but we still make it to the playoffs? So hit that like button for this, right? Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. In order for the Carolina Panthers to make it into the playoffs and still lose next week in Tampa, the following would have to happen. I believe the Atlanta Falcons play the Rams Monday night. If they don't, whoever the Atlanta Falcons play tomorrow night, they need to win. And then they need to win their final game against the New Orleans Saints. So that's your second scenario. So again, first scenario, Carolina simply needs to beat Tampa Bay next week, and they will be into the playoffs. Your second scenario is if the Carolina Panthers lose next week, but the Atlanta Falcons win out. They win their next two games. That will be their Monday night game tomorrow, and then their game next week against the Saints. We would still make the playoffs, all right? So that's your playoff scenario. let's go ahead and do what we love to do. Welcome back, Patrick Snyder, our great photographer, who's going to be with us for the rest of the season. He was back today doing what he does best, capturing photographs that simply tell the story of the day. So here we have it, photographs from today. This one, as again, we tell the story. That is your offensive lineman focus there on Taylor Moton. That's a look at some players who were like, man, we had it. We had an opportunity. We weren't able to take advantage of it and win. Taylor Moton, an offensive lineman, they're just looking on as the clock winds down in this one today versus the Seattle Seahawks. Good opportunity, man. Good opportunity that, again, we just weren't able to capitalize on. Another one here. End of the game. Nothing to smile about here in the final minute of the game as the clock is ticking out and Dave Canales decides to go with the opposite of the victory formation, and that is let's end this game and not get any more injuries like we did to start out the game with JT Sanders getting injured. That's Bryce Young and Dave Canales toward the end of the game. And this here, this was your touchdown that did it toward the end of the game. The final touchdown by the Seattle Seahawks, giving them that final score 27-10 today. And we're going to talk about this game some more. We're going to talk about this game some more. We're going to continue to break this down. Just a reminder for those that may be new to watching, format for our post-game show here at Bank of America Stadium. One is to go through the photographs from the game. Then we're going to go through the press conferences from both Bryce Young and Dave Canales. We'll then break down the stats, and then we'll also give you a sneak peek into the locker room and what has been going on there. So those are a few things to expect from the show tonight. And again, tough ask, super chats. The goal is 5 per game. And here you guys, Bryce was bad. It was not a beautiful thing. It was not, I see the comments coming, love the comments. We'll probably get a chance to touch on some of those comments today. But yeah, this was not a beautiful game. This was quite an ugly game that the Carolina Panthers actually had a chance to win, but it was ugly. 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 And we're going to talk about those stats from Bryce Young. And here was an early on, hey, I like what you're doing here, fella. Do what you can to win this game today. Jalen Coker, not only with a hurdle, but a hurdle and some flexibility there, trying to get over the Seattle defender and make the first down, which he was, in fact, able to do, get the first down for the Carolina Panthers. Great shot there by our guy, Patrick Snyder. And, the Carolina Panthers defense, we broke down. I don't even know if I want to say that the Carolina Panthers defense broke down in that second half as much as they just had some short fields that they had to play against for the Seattle Seahawks. But they certainly gave us an opportunity to do some good things. We got a super chat that came in, so I'm going to get to that super chat in just a moment. If we are lucky enough to have 4 more super chats, that would be a great thing. Sorry, I know I'm walking off the screen here, but I'm just making some adjustments. So that you guys can have a good viewing experience here. But let's continue to work through these images from today's game. Sam Darnold looked like he wanted to give the Carolina Panthers a gift today. Sam Darnold started off this game with throwing the ball to Carolina Panther players. He was under duress, and it really, really looked like he was going to give us a gift. Ended up not being the case here, but here was a sack early on by the Carolina Panthers on Sam Darnold. Continue to rock through this. Hey, what happens when you're doing good in the game? Jimmy Horn Jr. and Bryce Young showing some hops, celebrating a touchdown. Good stuff there early on. Both of those guys got some hops, right? Both of the guys got some hops. And then this was another play early on in this game. We're like, man, you talk about missed opportunities. This was the sack and fumble that was ultimately recovered by the Carolina Panthers. And you're like, all right, here we go. This is what we need. But then we did not have a good sequence of plays this game where we were able to capitalize on moments like this and actually get a touchdown. So I think I'm going to have a moment here where I can share like just how bad and tough this game was in the second half. All right. See if I can get here to my notes super quick. Actually, I might just cheat here and use this screen over here. This is how tough this game was today in the second half. We had a sequence as follows. In the second half, you had an interception that was thrown by the Seattle Seahawks. And then the next play, you had a fumble by the Carolina Panthers, which then led to a touchdown by the Seattle Seahawks. You're like, okay, all right, we still have a chance. And then you had another interception thrown by well, I won't say another interception. You had Bryce's only interception. The first one was a fumble, so there's 2 turnovers that I'm wishing to talk about and emphasize here in that second half. Turnovers, costly turnovers that led to points in short fields by the Seattle Seahawks. After that interception, then you had a touchdown by the Seattle Seahawks. So just in the third quarter alone, to score, the Seattle Seahawks had to go 21 yards to score. Very, very short field. And then they had to go 29 yards to score. Not enough. Not too far to go. They were able to then put some distance on it. And 14 points in that third quarter, 10 points in that fourth quarter to, again, ultimate score in this game, 27-10. But we're going to keep working through some of these images. Yeah, we got to win next week. Again, there's more than one scenario for this Carolina Panthers team to make the playoffs, but a win next week would absolutely be the simplest. All right, continue to work through some of these images. Here it is, that fumble by Sam Darnold, recovered by the Panthers, again giving us an opportunity to win this game, and man, we weren't able to do so. But this was a moment here where you felt like, yeah, and by the way, for you guys that love the pictures, I just ask that you do one thing. If you don't mind helping us out, give us a like on the video. That'll help other Carolina Panther fans find us and help us continue to grow and do what we do in having players and coaches on the show. All right, Bryce Young strutting in on, I think this was a third and I'm not sure how much, but this was about a 10-yard run by Bryce, where Bryce continues to, run the ball better. Actually, I wouldn't even see run the ball better. He just runs the ball in very good times, and he's not a really fast guy, but you do like the fact that he can run when he needs to, and even looks like he improved on his slide a little bit today. But that play here that you see with Bryce going in for that touchdown, man, at this point I'm like, all right, here we go. We may have that change in which the Carolina Panthers stop winning every other game. I was talking pregame with Rashad on our Panther Nation podcast on our pregame show. I said, one thing that has been better is Bryce Young in losses, right? 4 of the last 5 games, he's had passer ratings about 100, not having turnovers that seem costly. Last time he did so was against San Fran, and that was a while ago for that Monday night game. But, unfortunately, everything didn't go too well for Bryce Young today, except for that play there where we saw the touchdown. But nevertheless, we'll go through a few more here. This was the second touchdown by the Seattle Seahawks today. Mike Jackson on the cover, so just, got beat there. You're going to have that happen sometimes, and today it happened sometimes too often lately. Again, it was all in the second half. And again, look at this photo here. And I say look at this photo because the defense played a good game, man. I'm going to, again, bring up the stats here in just a second, but the number of sacks that the Carolina Panthers had on Sam Darnold, the pressure that they had on Sam Darnold, I mean, it was in the first quarter. I think Seahawks might have had like 20 yards passing. Unfortunately, had 66 yards rushing. So the Carolina Panthers defense was able to put a clamp on that and slow that down. And it ended up being an ugly game on an ugly day here in Charlotte where the fog rolled in. It was misty rain most of the day. Kind of felt like Seattle. So Seattle probably felt quite at home with the weather here today. But, yeah, it was just – I mean, it was on the table for the taking. It was certainly on the table for the taking. And unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers were not able to do so. Yeah, and here's Jackson Smith-Njigba, who, honestly had an off game, but unfortunately an off game for him is still better than most wide receivers. I think he still had close to 100 yards on the day. Let's go ahead and tell you the true stats for Enigma. Yeah, he had 72 yards, 12 targets, 72 yards. So they contained him for what could be contained of such an elite number one leading wide receiver in the NFL today. But he certainly got his. All right, we're up to 2 Super Chats. I'm going to get to them again in just a second. Our Super Chats, independent media, we're 100% funded by your Super Chats, by your Cash Apps, or whatever you're able to do to support the channel. So appreciate everybody that can and has done that. And I appreciate everybody that hasn't and just comes to the show to check out the content that we're doing. And why did we go into lack of victory formation at the end of the game? Well, this right here is one of the reasons why. A player can get hurt on any given play, and this was Ja'Tavion Sanders being hurt on the first play of the game. Went out with an ankle injury, was not able to put much weight on that ankle at all as he was leaving the field, and he was then quickly ruled out of the game today. So that is a reason that you want to go ahead and get into that formation at the end of the game so that you just go ahead and don't have any injuries happen that don't need to happen. Here's a great shot. Yeah, by the way, kudos again, Patrick Snyder. We love that we have you back here doing your thing for Charlotte Vibe. We missed you, buddy. Rico Dowdle with a run here. Great shot. And I'm glad that we have this shot because I'm going to leave this on the screen here as I talk about it for a second. The fact that Rico Dowdle, is it me or does it look like Rico doesn't finish runs the way he used to finish runs? And what I mean by that, and this picture shows it greatly, right? He shoestring tackles. Now, on this particular play, he's kind of trying to jump out of it a little bit, right? But there are many other plays from the game today where I saw Rico, and I'm like, where's that little last bit of elusiveness that you would have? Like the number of like, oh, they just got him. Oh, just got him was numerous today for Rico. But I'm thankful for his service. I'm thankful for what he did. It's just like, where did it go? That Rico that would get that extra little edge and be able to break a run, because he certainly had the opportunity. It seemed like to me he had the opportunity to break something today if he could just get away from that one guy that was grabbing at his ankles. Chuba Hubbard with the run here today. Unfortunately, he had a fumble. And then we'll got one more that we'll end on here. Had a little pregame smiles from the guy who played through an illness. We're going to get to Coach Dave Canales talking about his players today, but Bryce Young and Tetairoa McMillan at the beginning of the game. So, again, final score today, 27 Seattle Seahawks, 10 Carolina Panthers, and we were unfortunately not able to make it to the playoffs yet. We're still in first place. All right, so we're going to get to the press conference for you guys now. Give me just a moment. We'll bring up. You guys can probably even see that there's still fog behind me here at Bank of America Stadium, as it was a very foggy, rainy day here in Charlotte. Just a moment. We're getting Dave Canales' press conference loaded for you guys. Uh-oh. All right, 1 second. I am having some audio issues on my end. We'll get this straightened out. And in just a second, have Dave Canales.
From there.
All righty, so we're going to get started with head coach Dave Canales on T-Mac's illness and how that may or may not have affected him today. I saw another super chat that just came in there. Let me go ahead and do this right now because we only need 2 more super chats. And you guys are blessing me with those super chats to help us stay on air and help us do what we do here at Charlotte Vibe, helping us travel to Tampa to continue to cover this team on their playoff run. But let's go through these super chats because you guys are what make us go. All right, so R.L. Britt, another blown opportunity. This team just can't seem to get out of its own way. Trying to be optimistic about next week, but I don't know. So let me go ahead and touch on that for this team getting in their own way. How does next week look, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, what you saw today from the Carolina Panthers is their 2025 identity to the core. That's it. The Carolina Panthers 2025 team wins 1 week, they lose the next week. They win 1 week, they lose the next week. That is what happens. And, you know, in my pregame, I don't do predictions much, but I'm doing a little bit more this year. Said, I don't want this to be the result, but what this team tells me from how they're playing is that they're going to lose today. That's what they do. When they were winning big games, those were every other game. So I still feel good about next week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting a victory. Now, this is what I will say, though, that's kind of like, dang. And I kind of look at the big picture of everything, right? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the verge of like an epic second half meltdown where they've been losing game after game after game. And so just from the standpoint of, I don't know what it is off the top of my head, so, you know, feel free to correct me here. But I feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have lost like 4 out of 5, right? And they'll return next week to Tampa. And I'm still going to hold my edge and say that the Carolina Panthers will continue their trend of winning every other game and close that out in Tampa Bay next week. But it is just a little bit scary considering, like, man, is Tampa really going to lose like their last 5 or 6 or 6 or 7, whatever it may be? I hope so. But it just makes it a little extra challenging. But R.L. Britt, appreciate you very much on that super chat. Thank you for helping us get close to our goal. We got 4 super chats, so we only need 1 more. Or you'll see I put the Cash App on the bottom in case you guys are able or to do that or find the Cash App being easier to help support what we do here at Charlotte Vibe. Going live from the field immediately after the game. Again, once I get through these super chats, we're going to go ahead and get into the press conferences from Bryce Young and Dave Canales. All right, so anyone else 100% over Bryce has a weak, embarrassing excuse for a quarterback. I'll never cheer for or support him. Same for Canales. They both act happy to lose. All right, Amp for Life. You know I like you. That's my lady right there, Amp for Life. I haven't seen you this season so far. I hope all is going well. So here's where I am at both of those guys, because actually my oldest son texted me during the game saying that the coach needs to go. I feel like our coach is fine. I'm a supporter of Dave Canales. Yes, there's things that he could do better, but I think overall he continues to do better. You know, he continues to learn, he continues to change. And I think, honestly, he has some resources that kind of handcuff him sometimes with things. But he's also in his second year, and he has his team in the right direction. We don't like it that it's every other game, but they've won 8 games, which is more than we thought that they would win at the beginning of the season, right? So we're still doing things good. We're still winning games we're supposed to win for the most part. And, yeah, sometimes we'll lose games that you kind of want us to win, a.k.a. the Saints in 2 games. But the Saints are winning. Like, I don't know the exact number here, but the Saints are winning lots of games now. So, nevertheless, I think for Bryce Young, it's just I hate to say that I have to go and look at the tape, but that's what I feel like with Bryce Young because and watching the game today, it's like, man, were there any completions down the field? Like, was it coverage? Was it he not seeing something? Was it the routes that these guys were running? Was it the guys that were running the routes and not doing a good job? I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know at this point in time, but it's certainly like, and that interception, throwing it behind the guy as much as he did, it was I mean, why are you not even leading the guy? But nevertheless, and for life, appreciate you. And then we also have Dr. Mike Chris Canales listens to y'all. Please ask him about his refusal or inability to adapt on the fly throughout the games. It's like they format a plan and refuse to change up. He listens to y'all. Hey, all right. What would you have liked to have seen, Dr. Mike? Just curious. What would you have liked to see change up? To me, I mean, he tried something completely different with Mitchell Evans coming in there for that quarterback sneak to get a first down that we haven't seen all season. And by the way, that was something that the Carolina Panthers have had in their repertoire for quite a while. They had thought about bringing it out versus the New Orleans Saints and did not until today where they were able to get that first down. So there's new wrinkles that he's put in there to try to do things. Now, one thing I would like to see of an extra bit is Jimmy Horn Jr. trying to get more involved some kind of way on this offense with getting some routes run where he has an opportunity. Even if it's just like we're just going to throw it over his head, but we stretch the defense to give him that opportunity to do so. That would be great, but we haven't seen it yet. So we'll see what continues to happen. And then one more from Dr. Mike, which is, again, appreciate the Super Chats, you guys. Really, really help us do what we do here at Charlotte Vibe with your support and those Super Chats, subscriptions, and all that good stuff that comes through from you guys. This isn't on Bryce Young. It's on coaching and play calling. The wide receivers could not get open. And we're going to talk about Xavier Legette as well because, Xavier, I was watching Xavier today come off the line. And, Xavier Legette is not a burner, right? He's not a guy that's going to come out, run a 4.2 and do something incredible. But I felt like watching Xavier come off the line today that it was kind of like, and then he goes and runs his route and, does what he does. But everything was painfully predictable. So, Dr. Mike, there we go. So let's go ahead and take a second and get into these press conferences from head coach Dave Canales. And then we're going to get into let's see. And then we're going to get into Bryce Young as well.
He was playing his butt off out there. He
Good
looked
to see,
fast.
man.
He was doing everything. If anything, I would say just schematically, just trying for me and Brad, just trying to figure out ways to make sure we create access and opportunities for T-Mac. I didn't see a drop in his game, in terms of his performance and all that. I love the fact that he was able to get out there for his teammates and do what he did. The interception, underthrown slightly there in zone. Love played it, low to high, came up underneath it. We thought we had a nice concept to the boundary right there. There was some space, and I think Bryce would be the first one to tell you he'd like to be able to put that ball on the line on the inside right there.
Able to stretch.
All right, guys, give me just a second here. Now what we're going to do is go to Coach talking about the emotions of losing and getting over the fact that they had, the golden opportunity today to catch up to Tampa Bay and didn't do it. So give me just a second, and we're going to scroll over to that mark right here. Coach on losing today and that missed opportunity. Come on, Internet. Don't do this to me. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. Come on. All right. We might have to. I don't know why Dave is not wanting to talk to us here, so we're going to do this real quick. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to come back to here. We're going to go to here. A little extra narration for you guys here. All right, so we're going to try again. Dave Canales.
Yeah, we definitely feel the missed opportunity, but at the same time, we know it's in front of us. It's clearly defined. It was going to come down to this game, us handling our business and facing the Bucs one more time on the last game of the season. Couldn't ask for a better situation for this. The guys are excited and fired up about that, and we got to get over the fact that we missed an opportunity, with the Bucs losing that game. So, but our focus has to go to the next one really quickly.
3rd and 20, I believe, the face mask penalty on JC.
Yeah.
What did you see on first?
It was unfortunate. He rallies up to make a tackle. He didn't really pull the face mask, but there's contact there, and he grasped it a little bit, and the official called it the way he saw it. And really unfortunate it happened in that situation where we.
All right, so that was Coach on the missed opportunities. And now, most importantly, what I know you guys want to hear, and I got to play for you, is on Bryce Young. What was Coach Dave Canales' assessment on quarterback Bryce Young? Here we go. Listen carefully. Coach Canales on Bryce Young. Come on, let's play.
I thought he was competing, and he was making the ball go where it was supposed to be. Other than the interception, he was competing and giving us an opportunity, and operating in what we were asking him to do. So I'll have to look at the film to get a full grade on it, but I saw him out there competing, making some plays with his legs. Critical 4th down right there on the touchdown drive to be able to get us a new set of downs so that we can stay in the flow of it.
All right, so we just got one more super chat, so we made it to our goal of 5. I don't have anything special I can do other than give you guys a big smile and hey, thank you very much for supporting Charlotte Vibe and what we do here. One more game to go. But let's go ahead, and I got one more clip that I'm going to play for you. As I said earlier, the Carolina Panthers still squarely have an opportunity to make the playoffs. It's really simple, and I feel like it's really simple for them because this is what this team does. They bounce back well. They respond to losing well. Whether it's a home game, whether it's a road game, next week will be in a road game against Tampa Bay. But Coach Dave Canales spoke about this team bouncing back.
On Leggett lined up offside on that.
I'm sorry, that was not quite it. Let me get to the proper spot here. Coach on the team bouncing back.
What is a winner go home championship opportunity?
It's to have that mindset, to know that each game truly is a championship opportunity. Here we had one today against a fabulous team, and we couldn't ask for a better situation here to see where we're at and to see if we can call it up and play a really good team and come away with it. And we weren't able to do that, but we have another opportunity in front of us. The guys will be used to having this championship mindset. The way I see it is we've been playing playoff football for over a month, and every single one of these games has mattered. And that's the approach that we have to take. It heightens the focus, and the guys come in ready to work.
Dave, they haven't announced kickoff yet. You guys could be a candidate for Saturday. Do you have a preference?
Either way, I know that if you play Saturday, if we do win that game, it allows you to kind of have a normal week of prep in case you are the Saturday wild card. So there's an advantage there. But we're comfortable with whatever slot they put us in, and we'll adjust accordingly with our week.
All right, so there you have head coach Dave Canales talking about today's matchup, the problems that went with it, how he sees his team preparing for next week. And no surprise there, Dave does not have a preference on if the game is on Saturday or Sunday. For the matchup versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's quite possible that we'll find out later tonight on the Carolina Panthers' exact schedule for next week. Certainly that game has every single opportunity to be flexed to a primetime game because it's absolutely for the NFC South, 100% for that. So, hey, I also encourage you guys that are watching on other social medias, Twitter will be the best place to get us for breaking news on that. Then we also, when there's a bigger news, we'll wrap it up and summarize that on our YouTube channel. So be sure to look out for that and be aware of that. And let's go through this last super chat from Dr. Mike, who is blessing us very well today. Dr. Mike, next thing I want you to do, buddy, is become a member. Would love for you to be a member. I certainly appreciate all the support. So, all right. So here from Charlotte, let's go ahead and talk about Dr. Mike's last super chat. Well, I say last, his most recent, because, you know, if you get excited to do another one, I'll read them all day long. Mitch's quarterback sneak was because of y'all calling him out. Long passes on fourth down was unpredictable. More of that type of unpredictability, please. Shock the defense. Be different. That's what I'm asking for. I see. Yeah. And, like, in terms of that be different, you also have the fact that when Jimmy Horn Jr. comes out there, the gimmicks of Jimmy Horn Jr., you know, when he comes out there, it's never going to be like just snap the ball, he runs a route. It's going to be Jimmy run left, Jimmy run right, Jimmy run to the quarterback, come back around, do all this kind of lots of movement with Jimmy, which I think you can use. But it's like we don't need all that pre-snap from Jimmy if we know that he's not going to be a threat. Let's, again, see. And I'm not saying like Jimmy Horn Jr. is the answer. Teteroy McMillan is your answer. Jalen Coker is your answer. Xavier Legette getting his awareness all together, being better throughout the game. That's going to happen. That's what needs to happen. But just one of the wrinkles here, and talking about Dave, what can you do to get these fourth downs or these short yardage when you got a small guy? Yeah, so you'll see it. And Dr. Mike, appreciate you. We'll continue to bounce through it. Now, we're going to go to some Bryce Young here. They had some problems with it, so give me just a moment to make an adjustment, but we certainly want to get some Bryce Young information on here. Please keep the chats coming. We'll get to as many as we can. And then also, we're going to go through some stats from the game today as well. All right, just a second. We'll have Bryce Young, some highlights from Bryce Young's press conference here in just a moment. All right, so Bryce Young, press conference. Here you go.
Just didn't execute. Ton of credit to the defense. They did a great job. Offensively, we let them down today. That sucks. Obviously, starts with me. We all take ownership. Had opportunities with the defense helping us out there, and didn't take advantage of them. We give credit to our opponent. It's a good team, so obviously we respect them as well. But just didn't execute on offense.
You guys didn't really know until you got back into the locker room that Tampa Bay had lost and you had a chance to win the division. I mean, what was that feeling like, realizing that the opportunity was there to win it?
Yeah, we don't deal in hypotheticals. We're all about just winning today. We just want to go win another day. Didn't get that done. That's what sucks. But the lesson is, we have opportunity. For us, so we get to start the playoffs a week early. This is what we wanted, what we were excited for. So, we'll have a quick 24. We'll come back tomorrow, make sure we grow from it. We'll flush it. Again, we get to start it 1 week early, so we're ready for that opportunity.
Like you guys have since you just beat Tampa 7 days ago?
You don't get any advantages in this league. It's always going to be a new game, a new 60 minutes. We have a ton of respect for them. You always got to, these division opponents, you always got to flush it. It's always fun being able to play those chess games, knowing you're going to play someone twice. But there's no advantage based on the outcome. It's going to be a great challenge for us, so we're excited for the opportunity.
All right, so those were some of the opening comments from quarterback Bryce Young. Panthers seemed like they had some technical difficulties today with some of the information out there, so unfortunately I'm not able to cut through a lot of the snippets from Bryce Young's video from his press conference today, but I can verbally tell you guys some more information from Bryce speaking with the media today. If there's an advantage over playing Tampa next week when you beat them the previous week, and he says, as you might expect Bryce to say, no. He says that we're not owed anything when we win. So obviously he says that it's a new game, new 60 minutes, division opponent. There's no advantages from what happened before to help us with what what we have to do next week in Tampa. And then what about Bryce's message to his teammates? Flush it. He said, and that's something that he does whether they win or lose, 24-hour rule, flush it. It's on to the next game. We have to flip it, have to embrace the opportunity that's ahead, and that's the potential to win the division. And he was surprised by how much Seattle played man today. They made adjustments. They'll watch the film. They'll learn from it. They'll grow from it. They did play a lot of man. And in regards to this being Bryce Young's first NFL win or go home opportunity, coach has done a great job of putting that on the table, understands the moment, wouldn't want to be in any other position with anyone else. That is some of the highlights from Bryce Young and his press conference today. Big thank you to Ashley Stroline for getting us that information to share with you guys. And got a few excerpts from the locker that we're going to share. One was J.C. Horn. All right, J.C. Horn today, man, he's still a Pro Bowler for sure, right? But it just seems like, man, when what's the best way to do it? It's like maybe it's so much when he does so great, that when he does something that's like human, you go like, oh, man, J.C. Horn, what are you doing? He had two of those today, right? He had that interception that hit him right in the breadbasket, was not able to hold on to that, and that was like, oh, man, that was such an opportunity. And then later on in the game, right over here around the 40-yard line or so, it seems like J.C. Horn had a face mask penalty that led to a 15-yard penalty and a first down. I think that was 3rd and 20. They were certainly going to be punting that ball. They were not in field goal position. Wasn't able to do so. But here's J.C. Horn, post-game locker room. And I'd like to give credit where credit is due. This is from Joe Person of The Athletic. So if you have not given him a follow on Twitter, you might want to consider doing so. But here's J.C. Horn, post-game in the locker room.
Yeah, it's an opportunity. In this league, you got to be grateful for opportunities. Like I said, especially being here the years that our season's been done by this point. You got to be grateful and excited for the opportunity to have a chance to get in the hunt. So that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, it's an opportunity. In this league, you got to be grateful for opportunities. Like I said, especially being here the years that our season's been done by this point. You got to be grateful and excited for the opportunity to have a chance to get in the hunt. So that's what we're gonna do.
So that was J.C. Horn saying that there was a missed opportunity. They certainly had an opportunity today that was absolutely missed. And we got one more excerpt from the locker room that we're going to share with you guys, and then we're going to get into these stats. This was on Teteroa McMillan and how the Seahawks played more man than usual, and how that may have been a challenge for them today.
I think it just caught us by surprise, and obviously, puts more pressure on the quarterback because they get back there faster. So, but then at the same time, it's up to the receivers to get help, to create a clear picture for Bryson. I feel like they do a good job. I think it just caught us by surprise, and obviously, puts more pressure on the quarterback because they get back there faster. So, but then at the same time, it's up to the receivers to get help, to create a clear picture for Bryson. I feel like they do a good job.
You guys aren't hearing me. I know you weren't hearing me. Now you can hear me. Sorry about that. So let's go ahead and talk about it. What has been talked about in this post game today a lot is the man coverage by the Seattle Seahawks, and the fact that caught the Carolina Panthers by surprise. So this is where I can go back to the coaching with you guys. All right. So what do you do? What do you do? Like, okay, they're playing man, and they're doing a darn good job. They're like the glove. Who was that? Gary Payton from the Basketball Reference. The glove was all over the Seattle Seahawks defense today against this Carolina Panthers offense. What do you do when that's happening if you got guys that can't get you the separation that you need to get? Well, you could run some more pick-type plays to get guys open. That's something that you could have done, especially if you're going short, to try to get a guy that may not have the separation and speed burst that you need to get open. Is run some pick-type plays, some crossing-type plays, some downfield plays where you use again, that kind of pick-type opportunity. Obviously, you want to do it the legal way, right? That could have been something that you did. And then I'm going to go back to – sorry, guys, my feet are starting to freeze out here on this floor. But then you can also go back to my thing that I was talking about before is Jimmy Horn Jr. Not to say that, that was going to be your answer by far to make this game something different. But I wonder how many guys on that Seattle Seahawks defense that could stick with Jimmy Horn Jr. running downfield, running, every route just came to mind where there's a double move type routes, right, by Jimmy Horn to get him the ball. It could have been enough to just get the team to the Seattle Seahawks defense to respect us and maybe change things where you have some different looks where, hey, you get Jimmy Horn connecting and now you can run the ball a little bit more. Or maybe you can have them respecting Jimmy Horn, and then you can start getting stuff underneath as Jimmy Horn's running downfield on a post, slant, or fly, a go route. You could have had those things, and you didn't see those types of things taking place today. So, again, super chats are welcome if you guys are able to do so. Like this video, please. We're at 31. We got to at least get to 50. I think we could at least get to 50 before the end of this. Who else is on YouTube right now? Live from the field at Bank of America Stadium, breaking down the game with photographs, press conferences from Bryce Young and head coach Dave Canales, as well as stats and analysis. It's only us. So give us a little thumbs up or like, and we'll love it if you subscribe. So let's go ahead and go through some of the stats from today, which I have not brought over to the screen, but I'm going to bring over to the screen now because that is what we do. All right, let's go ahead and look at these stats from today. All right, so it did not get sorted in a way that I would need it to be sorted. So I am going to try to do it like this. Let's see if I get this right. Yeah, we go. I did get it right. Go ahead and take a look at these stats from quarterback Bryce Young. You guys are talking about it here. Yes, an astonishing, staggering, mind-blowing, launching the ball down the field repeatedly, 54 yards passing by one Bryce Young with an average of 2.3 yards per pass. His long was 8 yards. I think everybody out there in the world feels like they could have completed an 8-yard pass. My colleague is laughing at me. You guys can't see it, but I'm walking around the field trying to get some circulation to my toes because it is cold. 8-yard long, 1 interception, 2 sacks, and we go to a passer rating of 45.8 yards. 45.8 yards. So 14 of 24. I'm a math guy, so 14 of 24, that's probably about it's not quite 50%. I'd say it's probably about 55%. And that passer rating, that's what you're going to get. And I can't wait to put out the pass chart. I may be able to actually put it out tonight to show you what Bryce did not do with passing the ball today. And again, with a game like that was this lopsided, the yardage, Bryce's worst of his career, something like this, you almost just got to default and say, this was more than just a quarterback, right? To go to that kind of pedestrian number, this had to be more than just a quarterback. Was quarterback, play calls, and your receivers, you can't, even though Bryce is the one that gets credit for these numbers, you just can't put that squarely on Bryce Young. Let's go ahead and look at the rush from today, which was pretty bad as well. I can't wait to put this on the screen so I can start walking around again. All right, so here you have Rico. All right there. So it looks like we had a technical difficulty. Looks like we had a technical difficulty. All right. So before I really get to cooking back in this, let me know if I'm still there, guys. Let me know if I'm still there, because I did have some technical difficulties where I went out for a second. Certainly happens sometimes with live TV. Happens more when I'm out in the field, because when I'm out in the field, I have to use the airwaves of everything and internet connections out and about in the public, and there could be problems presented. So let me know when you guys can confirm that I'm back and everything can be heard clearly and seen clearly. Again, just a brief pause here. I'm pausing for you guys, for you to let me know when I'm back, and for you guys to verify that you can hear me loud and clearly, because I had a technical difficulty where the internet went out here at the stadium, and now it appears that I'm back. So we have one person that says I'm visible. If I could get just one more person, then we'll continue to go through this. You like the tie? Thank you very much. Can I get one more person just to confirm on their end that I'm good? Judging by the comments that are still coming, I would say you guys are going to say that I'm good. Not sure. Yeah, I got that one earlier. So again, I'm good? All right. Thank you. Sorry, there was a delay there where the internet here went out at the stadium, and my live broadcast paused for a second. So I'm going to continue to work through these stats here. We already went through Bryce Young's passing. Let's finish up here with the rushing. And you guys see it here. Mitchell Evans, 1 rush, 1 yard. That's all he needed. He got the first down. Coach Canales brought a new trick out the bag for that to happen there. And let's go ahead and go to... So we did the rush, the pass. Let's look at the receiving. All right. The receiving, and this is what I talked about in the pregame about our current guys. And I was asked a question on if I was okay with Xavier Legette being traded. And I said, if we get offers for Xavier Legette, then I'm all about answering that phone and considering that trade for Xavier, because right now Jalen Coker seems to be that true number 2 and gives us that true complement to Tetaroa. So as we look here on the stat sheet, what do we have? Now, this is not any great staggering numbers here by any means, but Jalen Coker was your leading receiver today. 2 receptions, 16 yards. Now, this overall is just not good enough. This is utterly not good enough. So I want to emphasize that I'm saying this is not good enough. But I want to point out still a little story that I see within this, which is Jalen Coker with 2 receptions, 16 yards. Jimmy Horn Jr. with 2 for 9 yards. And then, but overall, it's just horrible. Tetaroa with only 1 catch that came late in the game that wouldn't have done anything. Bryson Tremaine and others getting involved here. So I'm going to touch on this again because we touched on it in the pregame show. Rashad touched on, he kind of got on me about it. You guys have got on me about it too. And as I make this comment, what I really want to point out as I make this comment is that I'm only talking about a very small part of Bryce Young, like maybe 2% of his game, 3% of his game. I'm not talking about Bryce Young completely like, oh, he's a terrible quarterback. And I know some people may have that opinion that he's a terrible quarterback. But that's, again, I want to give some context to the comments that I'm about to make. I have said that I wonder about Bryce's arm strength for a deep ball. Not arm strength like he can't throw 10 yards, he can't throw 20 yards. And I'm not saying he has to have like a Brett Favre type gunslinger. He can throw the ball 70 yards kind of arm. But I just think he has, on average, a lesser, stronger arm for a NFL quarterback. That's just what it seems like. So, I made that comment after the game in New Orleans where it was, I think it was the end of the half. Let's see if we can score. And they just dumped the ball down. I don't know if that was the end of the game, but I know it was in that Saints game, right? I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we trying to win the game with throwing a little 10-yard dump, and then we're going to play catch with Bryce Young, and we're going to expect Bryce Young to help save us and run the ball down the field? He's not Lamar Jackson, right? So today, it happened again. Carolina Panthers are closing out the half. They want to score. And what do? Little check down. Why? We could get into field goal position and try a kick, but you're throwing the ball like 2 yards down the field. Why? Then they had another play, had another opportunity. And guess what they did on that other opportunity? They did the same thing. The exact same thing. And it's like, yeah, we're not going to score. We're not giving ourselves too much of an opportunity to score. And what is up with that? Is that the fact that Bryce, again, he's capable of throwing the ball down the field, but maybe he just does not have that Hail Mary type of arm. And one other criticism from Bryce today, with those check downs that he was throwing, or some of the swing passes that he was throwing, I should say, I feel like a few of them were designed swing passes. He was just trying to hold the safety, hold the linebackers to give his guys some more time to really get open for that play. And I felt like he was throwing the ball just a hair too late. Like, he wasn't leading those guys on those swing passes today. Chuba, Jimmy Horn Jr., Rico, he was not leading these guys on those swing passes, and the timing was off. Just so, like, you want to get that guy the ball where he can catch it and be looking downfield and continue to go. And it seemed like he was throwing it where the guy had to be back here, now turn around and run downfield. And, you know, those subtle differences are something where the guy can catch it and maybe stiff arm and get down the field, but he can't beat the guy if he has to stand like this, then turn around and then go downfield while the guy is coming full speed at him. So those are a few criticisms from Bryce Young in his play today. But again, overall, this was still more than Bryce Young. Let's go over to the defensive side, finish up there. And before I even get into these defensive stats that we see here, how about a little hat tip to my man, Derek Brown, who nearly had a beautiful interception. This guy had his hands all wrapped up with tape, big dude, diving for an interception, and you can't fault him for unfortunately not being able to hold on to the ball all the way down to the ground. He lost that one and was not able to complete that interception. So, you know, this Carolina Panthers team, to be honest with you guys and give you some perspective, we're not where we need to be yet. You know, we can beat teams that we're supposed to beat, and in order for us to beat a team that we're not supposed to, a la Seattle Seahawks, we have to play a perfect game. We have to get every interception that touches our hands. We have to get every fumble recovery that there is. And we can't have any turnovers ourselves to give us an opportunity, because we still have some holes that need to be filled, some improvements that need to be made, and we're just not there yet. So, you know, we'll do an end of the season wrap up in its totality when there's time to do so. There's not a time to do it today. I don't think there's going to be a time to do it in the next 2 weeks, because I feel like they have a really good chance to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next week in Tampa Bay. But those are well, I didn't talk about the stats. I just want to show them for a second. Mike Jackson was your leader in tackles. 8 solo tackles. That's pretty darn good, including an interception by Mike Jackson. So Mike Jackson with a really solid game today. Christian Roseboom continuing to be a tackling machine, as he has been all season, including getting a tackle for a loss. And then sacks. Carolina Panthers had more than one sack. We had sacks by Trayvon Moreg. We had a sack by Nick Scorton. And then we also had a sack by DJ Wonnum. So 3 sacks today. Pretty good stuff. And tackles for losses. Those were big today. Roseboom, again, having one of those tackles for losses. Trayvon Moreg having a couple of them. We were doing some blitzes today. And we were getting to the Seattle Seahawks. Now, one thing I want to talk about as well for this defense is, man, early on it seemed like we had guys in the backfield for more tackles for losses, and we just weren't able to capitalize on it. And they seemed like they were also eating up the left-hand side of the defense early on. But, this might be a hat tip to your defensive coordinator, Ivero, as they made some adjustments, and they really fixed things. They really tightened down and gave this team an opportunity to win. And the offense just didn't have any ways they could dig in and make something happen. So, again, pointing out all those points that the Seattle Seahawks scored, short fields, 21 yards, 29 yards, 40-something yards about. I don't remember the exact one of the other ones, but they were short, so we had a chance. We had an opportunity. All right, let's see if we can get to a few comments before we get out of here. We are about an hour into the broadcast here this afternoon, but I will try to get to 2 or 3 questions before I get out of here because your boy is freezing. Let's see. All right, let's see if we can get to a few comments that are out there. And, I wouldn't be mad if we got any additional super chats. We can't throw a Hail Mary from the 45. Yeah, you have not seen Bryce Young throw a Hail Mary. Have you in his career? NFL career. I'm not talking about Alabama. I'm talking about here at the NFL level. Have you seen him throw one? We have not thrown a Hail Mary at all. And head coach Dave Canales had made the comment about potentially using J.C. Horn out there because he's such a good ball hawk could track a ball down. And he's like, okay, I like that. This coach is trying to think outside the box and make things happen. I wouldn't be mad at seeing that because J.C. Horn does seem to have a knack for just finding the ball. But we haven't even thrown one. You guys are talking about Bryce? Again, just looking through the comments here. See if we can't get 1 or 2 before I get out of here. I'm freezing, guys, so we're not going to be going much longer here. All right, yeah, I'm officially freezing too much. I'm trying to go through these comments. Got a lot of, hey, let me go ahead and plug this. And I got to dance around a little bit, guys, because it's cold out here. My feet are freezing. Let me go ahead and plug that the day after show, Let's Talk About It. That is my show that we do every single week after the game, right? So Sunday games are what we've had pretty much all season. We had one Monday night game. But tomorrow night, Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please join me for our live Let's Talk About It show. That show is dedicated 100% to answering your questions. I want you guys to call in, whether it's on your cell phone, your laptop. There's a link that I'll put out there in that video for you to do so. And let's talk about it, the good, the bad, the ugly. If you need me, and again, I got to move around because I'm freezing out here, guys. Give me a like for freezing out here, having this live show. Please, thank you. Or Super Chat or Cash App, which let me put it back on the screen before we get out of here in case anybody has the ability to do that. And let me just make sure that we haven't gotten any while I've been on here that I need to thank you guys for. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. So I have some breaking news. I don't have the breaking news sound here, and I don't know how we missed this in the broadcast. Breaking news, attention, attention. Jatavian Sanders suffered a broken ankle. Jatavian Sanders suffered a broken ankle and will have surgery this week. Again, Jatavian Sanders suffered a broken ankle and will have surgery this week. So that is some unfortunate news for the Carolina Panthers as they wrap up the season or get ready to wrap up the season next week in Tampa Bay. I'm glad I was able to get that information for you guys before getting out of here. Again, that'll be it. Hope that you guys will join me tomorrow for our Let's Talk About It show, and which is a call-in show, all right? So again, the good, the bad, the ugly, the questions that you may have, I'm here for it up to 1 hour long. I'll be doing that show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, the final here in Charlotte, Carolina Panthers 10, the Seattle Seahawks 27. The Carolina Panthers have an opportunity to still make the NFC South, to win the NFC South and make the playoffs with a win next week in Tampa, or they could lose next week in Tampa as long as the Atlanta Falcons win their matchup Monday night, which I believe that game is against the LA Rams, and then next Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. For Charlotte Vibe, I'm Chris Jenkins here live from Bank of America Stadium.